What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? And in today's video, we are actually going to be making a prediction. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a fun video. Prediction of who are the 4-star characters that are going to be rerun in 5.1. As we all know, currently the four 5-star characters are Xilonen and Chiori for the first half, and also we have Nahida and Hutao for the second half. And so with that knowledge and looking back at past trends, we were going to predict the 6 4-star characters coming in 5.1, the next patch. So let's not waste any time. Let's get this video started. Okay, so here I have a spreadsheet. I need to take some time to beautify the spreadsheet, so ignore the mess. But in this spreadsheet, I basically have recorded down all the details of all the 4-star characters and their runs and their banner runs. And I think this gives us a pretty good idea of who is going to come back. We all know that Genshin doesn't work in a first in, first out kind of thing. What I mean by that is that Genshin doesn't operate in like, all these characters are highest banners without rerunning. We're gonna put him in. That's not how they work, you know, as evidenced by how long Heizou and Mika and Sayu have not been back. But with that being said, then one of the biggest evidences of that is Sarah, right? Kujo Sarah is obviously tied to Rider Shogun, who is currently on banner. And so with that comes my first prediction, which is actually Gorou. The reason why I say Gorou is because Gorou, for his first 3 appearances, came on Ito banners because Ito was like the only, not at least at this point in time, the only defense scaling Geo character. And then came 4.5, where Ito reran, but at this point in time also reran with Shiori, a double Geo banner. And surprise, surprise, 5.1 first half is also a double Geo banner, Chiori with Xilonen. And so I think that Gorou is going to be the character, one of the 6 characters, the first of the 6 characters I'm predicting. And for those who are thinking of pulling, he does require his constellations, I think, especially C4. Yeah, for the healing. So definitely a pretty constellation dependent character. You can definitely run it as C0, but it's definitely a lot less efficient, especially now that we have Xilonen. But that being said, you know, if you really like Gorou, obviously pull for him and everything. But yeah, I think Gorou is a character that's unfortunately waning down. But that doesn't deter hoyovers from who they stick onto the banners anyways, because we have a lot of Xinyan banners. Okay, but anyways, going back to the sheet. So another way that we can look at predicting the banners is looking at the events that are running in Genshin. So for example, we know that Lantern Rise, there's usually a lot of Liu Yue characters. And because this next event is in Sumeru, because it's the Sub-Cerus festival, I would think that one of the there's a high chance that we have at least one character from Sumeru. And looking at the chart, I think that one of the most obvious choices is collei, because collei is the is one of the characters featured in the material in the promo for the event. But at the same time, collei is also the character that has not run the longest. So I think for the second choice, it will be collei. And very similar to Gorou, unfortunately, I think even with high constellations, she's not as good. I think for her, most of it comes from her Dendro application. If I'm not wrong, I could be wrong because I don't really use collei. But I think that when people look, I do understand that. I think it is her special and her burst where she has problems applying Dendro. So just something for you to take note of. Constellations do give like pretty good damage, elemental mastery. So it's more of a supportive role. But if you really want like application and you are like cheap to play, Dendro Traveler is like a lot better, unfortunately. But you know, still pretty okay nonetheless. you really want to go to with like if you're playing with like Nilu, I think she's like still pretty okay. Oopsie daisy, wrong one. Okay, and then comes the next 4 characters. Next 4 characters is where we look at more stats to like determine who's going to come out next. And then that's where we look at the Fontaine era characters. And the one that stands out would be Charlotte, because if you look at Chevrus and Gami, who came after her, they actually had their reruns before Charlotte. So I think that the 3rd character is going to be her. And I do have better things to say about Charlotte. I think that she's a very decent healer. And plus she's a team-wide healer, so it really works very well with Furina. She has good, decent enough cryo application. I think her main problem is that I think it's the energy, the particles. You really need to hold, which can be a little bit tough sometimes. It's basically an extender. It's basically the same version as Nahida's that you can move, but I think it's a little bit slower in marking. So there's something to take note of. But I think she's still one of the better 4-star characters in recent times. Does have a very high energy recharge requirement unless you have the C4. So something that you really want to take note of. But she does have decent healing, even at low levels. As long as you build her with attack and ER, you should be fine. That being said, Charlotte is my 3rd prediction. And so let's move on to the next 3. And the next one I'm going to predict is actually Heizou. And the reason why I'm predicting Heizou is that we look at the other chart. Heizou is actually currently not only the character with the record longest rerun. Oops, wrong sorting. Heizou currently has the longest time since he has rerun, since 3.7. He's also the character with the longest of all the characters who has had the history of the longest runs between banners. Right? People complain about Kave for the longest time, but Heizou actually has a little bit of a longer history and overtook him ever since 4.8 ended. So yeah, currently he is the character that has not been back for a very, very long time. And I think that he is going to be the character that is going to rerun along in 5.1. So what do I have to say about Heizou? He feels more like a prototype for Risley in terms of combat. Risley, the catalyst but like melee stance kind of user. That's what he feels like. At the same time, he does do decent damage, but at higher constellations, obviously. I think the main problem is that because he's animal, so it's a little bit weird to swirl. So as a main DPS can be a little bit awkward to swirl. So that's about it. But however, he does do pretty nice like DPS, like damage per screenshot numbers, if you're into that. So it's really like something that you may want to try if you have high constellations on. Okay, and then it comes to the last 2. Next character, the 5th character I'm predicting is fischl. If you were to look at the 1.x era of characters, you will notice that fischl, alongside Razor and Chongyun, have had the least amount of reruns ever since they were released. And she's also the character that has had the longest time in between banners since then. 4.1 first half, which was I think Nivelette's banner. So yeah, currently fischl has not been run in a while, and that's why I think fischl is going to be a part of the banner, which is quite interesting, right? Because fischl is actually kind of a popular character by the players. So I'm actually quite surprised that she hasn't had a rerun in a very long time. That being said, fischl is definitely a pretty good character. C2 and C6 are definitely very crucial for her. What she brings is a lot of off-field damage, a lot of off-field battery, a lot of off-field electro application. And the last character I'm predicting is Sayu, based on the numbers again. Sayu, as you can see, she 18 banners that have not been rerun. The reason why I'm skipping out on Mika is because Mika seems to be tied to Eula, and if Eula doesn't rerun, I don't think Mika reruns. I was surprised if Mika appears, but I think that Sayu has a higher chance of appearing than Mika. And Sayu is pretty okay if you don't have Jean, if you're a newer player. The thing about Sayu is that not many 4-star characters have team-wide healing, but she does. Also, in case you guys don't know, she's voiced by Lily Pichu, if you guys are into that. But yeah, she has team-wide healing through her burst, which is pretty good for 4-star. Charlotte, I think Mika are the only other few characters that have this. Most of the time, team-wide healing is reserved for 5 stars, so something that you want to take note of. That being said, she's a little bit clunky to use. She's like a jack of all trades, master of none character. She has her benefits. She's not like completely bad, but I think that because she doesn't specialize in anything, she doesn't really stand out, especially for a 4-star. But she does. Her concentration 1 is pretty decent. No cooldown, and then C6 you rely more on her ER. So I mean, it is fine. What constellation do I actually have her at? I'm actually curious. Sayu. I actually have her at C2. Yeah, so the C1 is definitely pretty good because it's basically Bennett's thing, right? You're ignoring the HP limit that you can see on Bennett. But anyways, those are my predictions. Once again, we just go through them once all together. So from the very top, we have Gorou, we have Sayu, we have Heizou, we have Fischl, and then we also have collei and Charlotte. And so these are the 6 characters that I think are going to rerun in 4.6, not 4.6, going to rerun in 5.1. Do let me know in the comments down below if you think this is going to happen. If you have other predictions, let me know in the comments down below. Especially if you think like Kachina's going to come back in after one patch, kind of thing. Put it down in the comments. But yeah, when the actual banners come out, we'll definitely review them, and we're going to look at going to be looking at those details in further in more detail. Okay. Yeah, but that's that for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Just a little bit of a fun one. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good YouTube stuff. Do note that I stream live on Twitch in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to yourselves and the people around you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.